Hello my friends and welcome, my name is Dennis and this is the latest update from Ukraine. All of the formalities have been completed and Putin extended his term officially for 6 more years. 6 more years of hell. If he doesn't quit before, we are all waiting for that, but I guess the only way for it is to Putin kaput. The interesting thing that Putin was looking kind of sad during his inauguration ceremony and unhealthy. And I guess I know why, because he prepared the present for his inauguration, which didn't work. You see, just 3 days ago I filmed a video that Putin will try to eliminate President of Ukraine Vladimir Zelensky, so the attempt for it was conducted today. Luckily, Ukrainian internal intelligence is working fine and all of the people who are involved in that case were arrested. They have the evidence on their phone about their connections with the Russian FSB and the preparation for the assault mission on Zelensky, or we may call it assassination attempt. The high Ukrainian government security officials were involved and actually they betrayed their country. From what I understood, they were preparing to blow up Zelensky's vehicle. And they were hired by Russia even before Russia started the full-scale war in Ukraine, so they were hiding and waiting for it to happen at some point. So today they got the order, but were unable to commit their action, because they all were arrested. We may have different attitude towards Vladimir Zelensky, but he represents one of the Ukrainian main government institutions, and for Putin it's crucial to get rid of it. So Putin tries to escalate not just on the front lines, but also using his FSB dirty methods as he used in Chechnya, for example. It means that Russia is not willing to negotiate with Ukraine, by the way, as Ukraine is not willing to negotiate with Russia. Yeah, we know about the peace summit that will take place in Switzerland very soon, but Russia will not be presented there, and I would say that this summit is basically done to coordinate the actions of the allied countries to oppose Russian aggression. It is built around Zelensky's peace formula, which says that Ukraine should liberate its territories, including Crimea and Donbass, so Putin doesn't like that stuff. Because of it, Putin wants to escalate from his side as well. And the main question is whether China will be presented on that summit. If the high Chinese representatives would attend the summit, I would say that China is definitely changing the side, but I think that the chance for it is quite low. I'm sure that China is oriented to support Russia as long as possible. But anyways, I could be wrong and maybe we'll see China over there. It means that Putin is in a big trouble in that case. Even though the Western countries like the United States of America, France and many others agreed that Putin continues to be a Russian president after the elections, but I think they are oriented to dismiss him from power somehow, and this summit will play a great role in it. So mainly it has nothing to do with Switzerland itself, because it continued to be a neutral country, but many of the other countries will be presented on the summit which support Ukraine in military, so we may expect even more packages, military packages, to be given to the Ukrainian army. And even Romania is now speaking about sending some of the Patriot systems to Ukraine. They understand that it's better to support Ukraine right now because they're very close to the Russian border and they don't want to border pro-Russian Republic of Ukraine if Russia somehow occupies it. My friends, some of the breaking news are coming from Luhanks. Ukraine used ATACMS missiles to target the Russian oil base the oil base which Russia uses to refuel their vehicles, I mean with diesel fuel and with petrol. Also, the warnings were reported in Rostov-on-Don and other Russian regions. By the way, Ukraine didn't perform any kind of the attack the last night, as Russia expected, but it happened this night. The distance to that Luhansk oil station is around 100 kilometers, but if I measure from this point it could be 90 kilometers, so maybe the older version of ATACMS was used, I mean older, that was supplied to Ukraine with a shorter range. The White House representative John Kirby says that if Russia waits for its forces to be under the fire of the Western-made weaponry, it should just remove its forces from Ukrainian territory and there will be no any threats for those. Kind of the logical statement. Alright, YouTube even removed one of my videos about the strike in Israel, the live stream that I've done on my channel, which many people watch, so I'll try to appeal. Also, my last video was restricted as well, so my friends, if you want to support the job that I do on YouTube daily, you may see what is happening on my channel, so you may support me on Patreon, like alternate resource which I use, just to keep going, and the link for it is available in the video description just below, or you may just scan the QR code available on the screen. Thank you so much for your awesome support. Right, we have kind of the good news from Ukrainian 43rd Separate Brigade. They start to receive the artillery shells more than usual, so they strike Russians very hard. We have the information, the reports from them coming all day long. Snarady means shells, so American support really works. We also may see it with a recent military map review. Yes, Ukraine went on a counterattack before Russia tried to occupy the part of Urozhaine. They went through, but today Ukraine hit them hard, demolishing many of the Russian vehicles and taking the ground. For today, from what I can see, judging on many of the sources, it's the only change on the front line, so Russia slowed down with their offensive and Ukraine is now counterattacking in Urozhaine. It is the southern part of Donetsk Oblast. Absolutely great news, haven't been seen that for a very long time. Also, we have some of the combat images which unfortunately I am unable to share with you on this platform. I'm still trying to avoid some of the restrictions that YouTube poses on my videos. So for those kind of the videos, you may check out my Telegram channel available in the video description just below. I try also to avoid posting some sort of the gore images out there. I don't like that stuff, but the ambushed Russian convoy you may find out there. Alright, if we open the deep state military map, as I said to you, there are no any changes. However, according to my information, there is a heavy fight ongoing near Crimea, and Ukraine was successful in one of the frontline sections to kick Russia hard. There was the attempt for Russia to break through from Crimea direction towards Liman, but it was stopped, and Russians turned back or being demolished. This information is being shared by our soldiers in this area. Alright, what's about the Robotyne village? Well, Russia went to the central part of it. However, Russian forces weren't able to dig into the ground and were forced to turn back. So for now, Robotyne is under Ukrainian control. We have the gray area expansion because Russia continued to send their midwaves trying to get the settlement under control, or what is left from it. Because basically there are no houses, nothing. It's not a big difference between this area right now and Robotyne. For the first time, I see how Ukraine tests a gliding bomb with wooden wings, which is mounted on helicopter Milev 8. I wonder how Ukraine is willing to use this bomb. Probably the helicopter here is just for testing purposes, as well as the wooden wings. About the yesterday's strike on Sevastopol Bay by Ukrainian drone boats, it's been confirmed that definitely it is the R-73 missile, which Ukraine tried to use to eliminate the threat from the Russian aircraft. However, the Russian helicopter went so close that it was useless to launch this rocket on it. Meanwhile, Russians continue to produce more of the turtle tanks. This construction just went crazy. Yeah, I'm still laughing at it because the way it looks, the new braking technology Russian armada just smokes aside, but nevertheless it could be very effective against the drone strikes, and also it has a drone jammer unit on the top. For now, those tanks are being spotted just in Bakhmut direction, or Chasiv Yar direction, as it already became. And Syrian militants also took this technology to protect their vehicles against the drone strikes. We see lots of those kind of the images. Russia also designed some of the ground drones to move their supplies, so it is in their civilian life, and this is for their military. Ukraine also has those tools, by the way. The Belarus military officials also say that they would launch the check of their nuclear missiles and nuclear aviation bombs that were delivered to them by Russia. So it could be the joint exercise by Russia and Belarus to threaten the world with nukes. Tactical nukes for now. But you know what? For 2 days consecutive, Russia bombs its own territory of Belgorod Oblast. They say accidentally, but bombs were separated from one of the Russian military airplane, hitting the village of Krutoy Log, targeting some of the local buildings. So with those Russian nuclear military drills, I think not the West nor Ukraine should be afraid of, but the local people of Russia, for example, in Belgorod Oblast, because this time it could be something heavier than a regular bomb. Alright, Russia shared this picture of what kind of the vehicles we should expect on the Russian parade on 9th of May, the Great Patriotic Victory, and there are no any tanks except one of the T-34, the Soviet tank from the Second World War, so exactly the same picture as the last year. Russia hesitates to put modern tanks, even Armata, on parades. Kind of the strange decision, but probably they need tanks somewhere else. Russia is building some of the military vehicles decoys not far away from the front lines using wood. This production station was filmed from Ukrainian drone. I think that here they produce the decoys of artillery systems and some of the trucks. Russia also started to use their written-off airplanes, like for example this Sukhoi 25 attack airplane, and definitely by even using the high-resolution images from satellites you'll not find out the difference. The vehicle losses for the last 3 days, Russia lost 169 of the vehicles, Ukraine 107, kind of the unusual. There was the day then the losses were almost equal. It happened on 5th of May. It is hard for me to say why Ukraine has so many losses that particular day. But from what I see, judging on the table, Russia used lots of the Lancet drones to hit Ukrainian vehicles behind the front lines, and as usual, Ukraine uses lots of the FPV drones. Russia again launched the aerostrike on Ukraine from their strategic bombers. Half of the Ukraine, even more, is under the threat of those missiles for now, but later on the air serene coverage will be also expanded to the west and to Odessa Oblast too, because missiles are flying from the east direction. Yeah, with the recent update, Odessa is already red. The independent media source, yes, it's the name of this media, saying that Russia is not using the Kerch Bridge for their supplies as they used to use before. They're sending their supplies across the other regions of Ukrainian occupied territories using mostly not the railways but the trucks. Russia still builds the alternate railway connection, so if they need to send something really big, they use still Kerch Bridge, I'm sure about it. The American citizen and also a sergeant of the United States Army was arrested in Russia. He went there to meet his girlfriend, but his girlfriend accused him of stealing 200,000 rubles from her. It's roughly $2,000, so American military who went to Russia for stealing $2,000, right? Guys, I do not recommend you to attend the territory of the Russian Federation, especially if you are the American military, and even if you want to meet a beautiful woman or girl, it doesn't worth it. So this guy is now arrested, temporarily jailed, and will be prosecuted in the nearby future. Also, lady said that he beated her. I was able to find this video of this American guy who I think is very, very stupid.
Ура!
Yeah, that D.
Finally! Прям ура!
Yeah, Russian Victory Day.
Russian Victory Day.
So he congratulated Russia with their victory day.
Yeah, right. Всех с Днем Победы! Ура! Будем сегодня мучить американцев.
Yeah, it only took me like 10 minutes.
И
to
немцев.
She said we're gonna humiliate today Americans and Germans. Well, you know what? Maybe that guy deserved it. Why am I saying like that? Because he went to Russia, he was calling NATO as the aggressive alliance. Guy, you serve for NATO, you serve in American army, which is the part of NATO. And he is also a Trump supporter. I know that the part of my audience also support Donald Trump, have nothing against you, but some of the representatives from your camp behave kind of strangely. Hope you agree with me. And we have the information that IDF launched the ground operation in Rafah. They already took the control of the local checkpoint between Egypt and the Gaza Strip. We can clearly see that they have this vector across the border and the other one to Al-Bayuk. It was understandable before that Israel will start the ground operation in Rafah. They do not care what Joe Biden or others say. They have their own goal to eliminate Hamas. My friends, now don't forget to press your huge like to this video. By doing so, you help me a lot. And as usual, I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are. Have a great time.